You and I both know the old saying. We've heard it a million times from every coach from Pee-wee to the pros. Football is won and lost in the trenches. It feels like we've been waiting forever to find that perfect balance, that perfect roster that can finally take this franchise where it belongs. We spend all off-season agonizing over the flashy positions. We talk about the wide receivers. We debate the secondary. We obsess over who is throwing the football. But none of that matters, and I mean absolutely none of it, if the foundation of the house is built on sand. And right now, as we sit here looking at the reality of the 2026 Cleveland Browns, we aren't just looking at a foundation made of sand. We are watching the foundation of this entire franchise absolutely disintegrate right before our very eyes. There is a sense of dread creeping into Berea, and if you aren't paying close attention, you might just miss how catastrophic this situation really is. The buzz is real, and the buzz is terrifying. We are talking about a scenario that could set this team back for the next 3 years. We are talking about the kind of collapse that gets general managers fired and ruins young quarterbacks before their careers even get off the ground. You think I'm being dramatic? I promise you I'm not. Let's be honest with each other. We have lived through bad offensive lines before. We remember the dark days. But what we are facing right now is unprecedented. It is a mass exodus. It is a complete and total teardown of the one unit that has kept this team competitive through all the chaos. And that's the reality, isn't it? That's what we are facing. But before we get into the grim details of this offensive line collapse and exactly how Andrew Berry might try to fix it, I need you to do something. Click the like button right now. Let's get this video out to the entire dog pound because every Browns fan needs to understand the gravity of this situation. And tell me down in the comments, are you willing to mortgage the future and overpay for elite offensive linemen in free agency, or do you want to see them draft and develop rookies, even if it means Shedeur Sanders is running for his life this season? Let me hear your thoughts in the comments. I'll be interacting with you guys down there all day. All right, let's get into the core news, and I suggest you brace yourself. The Cleveland Browns offensive line is collapsing. And when I say collapsing, I don't mean we are losing a swing tackle or a depth piece. I mean all 5 starting offensive linemen are currently free agents or walking out the door. Cam Robinson? Gone. Joel Bitonio? His void date was pushed to March 10th, and retirement is looming over his head like a dark cloud. Ethan Pocic? He tore his Achilles, and frankly, at 30 years old, coming off that kind of injury, his future is a massive question mark. Wyatt Teller? We all saw the Instagram post. He confirmed he won't be returning, saying, "I wish things were different." And Jack Conklin? His contract was specifically structured to hit 2026 free agency with dummy years, meaning he is off the books and out of the building. 5 starters. 5. Gone. Poof. Vanished into thin air. Cleveland may be forced into a complete, ground-up offensive line rebuild in a single offseason. Do you understand how rare that is? Think about the continuity it takes to build a cohesive offensive line. You don't just plug and play 5 random guys and expect them to communicate slide protections against TJ Watt and Trey Hendrickson. It takes years of reps. Let's expand on the replacements because the insiders are already whispering about what the front office is plotting. First of all, the free agency market is going to be brutal. League projections have Tyler Linderbaum, the absolute crown jewel of the center market coming out of Baltimore, commanding a market value of $17.7 million per year. Think about that. $17.7 million for a center. But here's the thing. Can you put a price tag on protecting your quarterback? Then you look at a guy like Connor McGovern. He is coming off back-to-back seasons with 0 sacks allowed. 0. He was a Pro Bowler in 2024, and he just posted the 6th highest pass-blocking grade among centers at 73.4 according to PFF. He is going to want a massive payday too. But Andrew Berry doesn't just have to look at free agency. The draft is going to be a massive piece of this puzzle. The scouting department is reportedly keyed in on some heavy hitters. We are hearing names like Vega Ione, the absolute mauler at guard out of Penn State. We are hearing about Monroe Freeling, the highly touted tackle from Georgia. And Emmanuel Pregnon is popping up on every internal draft board. They are targeting Linderbaum in free agency and trying to backfill with guys like Ione and Freeling in the draft. That is the rumor mill. But is it enough? You're trying to replace 2 perennial All-Pros in Bitonio and Teller. You are trying to replace veteran savvy with rookies and high-priced mercenaries. Now, we have to transition into the strategic analysis because the butterfly effect of this offensive line exodus is going to ripple through the entire roster and the salary cap for the next 3 years. If we do this, if we drop a $70 million contract on Tyler Linderbaum or Connor McGovern, what happens to the rest of the team? What happens to Denzel Ward's inevitable restructure? What happens to Myles Garrett's window? The financial reality is terrifying. We are staring down the barrel of Deshaun Watson's historic $80.7 million cap hit for 2026. The Browns are already swimming in negative cap space, depending on which cap expert you ask. So, how in the world does GM Andrew Berry pull off a complete offensive line rebuild when he doesn't have a blank check? Is Berry about to gamble again? He has to restructure Watson just to get compliant, which means pushing the dead cap hits into 2027 and 2028. It is a vicious cycle. And let's look at the coaching staff's perspective. You bring in Todd Monken. You have George Warhop trying to coach up these trench warriors. Monken wants to run a dynamic, vertical, spacing-oriented offense. You cannot do that if your quarterback has 1.5 seconds to throw the ball. And that brings us to the most critical piece of this entire puzzle, Shedeur Sanders. We drafted a rookie quarterback who is supposed to be the future, the bridge, the savior, whatever you want to call him. Can a rookie QB like Shedeur survive behind a patchwork offensive line? Look at the historical context. Remember what happened in 2020. Look at what happened to Joe Burrow in his rookie year when the Bengals refused to build a line in front of him. He got his knee shredded. Do we want to repeat history? Do we want Shedeur running for his life, developing bad habits, seeing ghosts in the pocket, all because we couldn't figure out the left tackle situation? Compare this to what other teams are doing. Look at the Ravens. They consistently draft and develop linemen. They don't panic. Look at the Steelers. They drafted Broderick Jones. They drafted Troy Fautanu. They invest high capital in the trenches. They build the dam before the flood hits. We are standing in the middle of a monsoon with a leaky umbrella. Is this a full rebuild disguised as a retooling? That's the question everyone is afraid to ask. If you are replacing all 5 offensive linemen, you are not retooling. You are starting over. And if you are starting over on the offensive line, you are fundamentally limiting your ceiling for the 2026 season. Let's look at the best-case scenario. Best case, Andrew Berry works absolute cap magic. He signs Linderbaum. He hits a home run with Vega Ione in the draft. DeJuan Jones comes back fully healthy from his knee injury and locks down the left side. Suddenly, the line gels by week 4, and Shedeur has a clean pocket to operate. That's the dream. But we are Browns fans. We know the worst-case scenario. Worst case, we get outbid for Linderbaum. We reach for a tackle in the draft who isn't ready. We roll out a line of cast-offs and undrafted free agents. The defense figures out our protections. Shedeur takes 50 sacks. Watson's contract continues to strangle the roster, and we are picking in the top 5 again next year. This topic is bigger than Wyatt Teller leaving. It is bigger than Ethan Posick's Achilles. This is about the future of the franchise. It is about whether this front office has the agility and the foresight to navigate the most treacherous salary cap situation in the history of the National Football League while simultaneously replacing the 5 most important non-quarterbacks on the field. So where do we go from here? The stakes have literally never been higher. Every single move Andrew Berry makes between now and April is going to dictate whether the 2026 Cleveland Browns are a playoff contender or a cautionary tale. We are watching the foundation crumble, and now we have to see if they brought enough cement to pour a new one. I will be tracking every single free agent visit, every single cap restructure, and every single draft rumor right here on the channel. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and click the video on your screen right now. Go Browns!